Thanks for the opportunity. I'm now with the College of Alice and Peter Tan. This is my family. That's my daughter when she was 2 years old. She's now 21. So my wife and I, we live in this part of Yunnan. This is Sipsong Pana, the Thai-speaking part of China. The cities are very wealthy, but countryside remains very poor. And these are ethnic minority groups. Okay, you would think this is other part. They're all Chinese nationals. So these ladies, they came for surgery. Volunteer surgeons from Singapore came, nurses came, anesthetists, and they removed this tumor. She had this tumor for 7, 8, 9 years. So surgery was done. This girl, this lady, was very grateful to the surgeon, said thank you, very grateful to the nurses, very grateful to the anesthetists, thank you, thank you, thank you. But one member of the community, not nurse, not doctor, not healthcare, bought her a $10 present. And she was so grateful to this present, that she cried and cried and cried. Okay, discussion. What is this present? What present would you buy for this post-op lady? Okay. New set of clothing. Okay. New set of clothing, September. What is September? September? Shall I answer? Yes. A chair. Interesting. She never said on a chair before. Okay. January? A cushion, a float, those onion ring, yes. And the answer was a pair of panties and a pair of jeans. Because this lady, in her shame, had worn this big flare skirt for years. Okay, the experts, the doctors, the social worker, in their profession and vocation, can bring cure. But restoration is always done by the community. That means one ordinary member of the public looked at her and understood that she could not have sat down, that she didn't wear a panty or jeans that you and I take for granted. We put on a pair of jeans every day. And when she saw that, she knew she is normal. And she cried and cried and cried. So I don't really speak Chinese when I went to China. I come from Sikap Secondary School. PSLE cut-off point about 179, 180 type, huh? Okay. And most of my classmates spoke Malay. Never passed Chinese in my life. And that really helped me when I went to China because I couldn't speak. I had to go and listen. And I spent a lot of time with my children in the market. They have once a week market, like Pasar Malam. Once a week, they will come and sell things. So I went to the market and learned Chinese that way. And one day, I saw this. I took a picture of this. I had to develop no digital, put it in my journal, and then I wrote these words: globalization arrived. What are these? This is pipa. Pipa. So most Singaporeans don't know what is pipa, but we all know what is swan bei pipa gao. So this is pipa, and these are strawberries. Why? So I wrote this there, and I took a picture, and I showed it to my wife. Hey, globalization arrived. And she understood straight away. You see, Yunnanese don't like sweet things. They like sour and spicy. Pipa is typically Eastern, loquat. You find it in Nepal, you find it in some parts of India, but it's a typically Oriental fruit, which we don't know. Pipa. But the strawberry is a very Western fruit. I asked the farmer 10 years ago, did you have strawberries? And the answer was no. I said, why do you plant strawberries? This is a farmer, no, never been to school. He said, I plant strawberries to sell to Oman, European Union. I said, where is Oman? 不知道. Then he went on to say that, okay, he thinks that his strawberries are only second in price and taste to those strawberries coming out in Poland in the month of March. And when I came back to Singapore, I find that despite being a very global city, a lot of us don't understand or don't want to face the fact that globalization arrived in Singapore. Because we are still saying things like, this foreign talent, come and take away my job. Because this is very painful. If you are 40, 45 years old, and you lose your job to a Filipino accounting bookkeeper because he earns 1/3 of what you earn, you get very upset. But this is globalization. You know, if we shut the door to any kind of industry or workers or labor or doctors or anything, and those countries corresponding shut the door, you have 100,000 highly qualified, successful white-collar workers coming back to Singapore. And that time you cannot tell the MP, I want protection, because they also read IC, And they will compete with you for your job at a lower salary, and they will win. You know why? They have an international experience. So one day, my neighbor bought 2 cars. China. He bought 2 cars. One car is this black Mercedes. Behind that is a white BMW. Bought 2 cars at one time. Okay, what do you see? What's happening here? Okay, so this mother-in-law saw that the son bought 2 cars. One black Mercedes and one white BMW. And she went to dry her chili on the car. I said, you do this in Singapore, wow, fight, man. But, okay, what's happening here? What's happening? Why what's going on? And I took this picture and I wrote in my journal, some things change, some things don't change. Right, who can share with us what I was trying to drive at? Whether I'm on the right track or not? What's changing and what's not changing? What do you see?
Fruits on the car.
Fruits on the car, chili. And why is the chili on the car? To fight against the ERP. The ERP.
No, because it's black in color, so it dry up faster.
Yeah. It's called, in physics, what's the term? Black body radiation. Right. So in the past, the mother-in-law would dry the chili on the grass. Okay. That part don't change. The tradition and the taste don't change. What you eat as a teenager, your char kway teow, your nasi lemak, forever you will gain one. No? Right? You will always like it. The food that you like as a teenager doesn't change. You will forever one day wake up in New York and say, wow, I want to have a cup of teh tarik from Adam Road. Must be Adam Road. Die must be Adam Road. Okay. But it's just sugar and tea, right? So anyway, chili used to be dry on the grass. But now she has alternative. Because a black Mercedes and white BMW. Why she chose a black Mercedes? Why black Mercedes and not the white BMW? Yeah, black body radiation is physics. Physics don't change. Taste don't change, physics don't change, but the method can change, can move about. So we have to ask ourselves, yes, there is tremendous globalization, we recognize it, but we have to ask ourselves what things should not change and what things will change and should change. I don't have the answers. But this is leadership. Let's read this together. 1, 2, 3. This is very tough. And democracy, this is our worst enemy. Because if I stand in elections in a different party, and no matter how good my ideas are, after the elections, it's very hard to bring the two sides together. Very hard to bring us together because we are different. We hold different interests, different jobs, different tensions. Okay, then, in China, people like to go China, but they are the number one scared of what? Public toilet. Okay, my daughter used to say, okay, Singapore Jie and auntie coming already. Where are they going? And say, I will tell them where the route. She said 4-hour drive. She will plot all the toilet on the way. This toilet 1 star, 2 star, 4, 3 star, 4 star, 5 star. Okay, so this toilet, no smell one. Is this a good toilet? Clean, right? The toilet of eternal flush. It's a very good toilet for the user, but it's a terrible toilet for those who are downstream. So, for me, this toilet always teach me, be grateful for what I have. People ask me why I went to China. It's very simple. I'm very grateful for the education that Singapore given me. Right? Be grateful for the resources we receive, and be gracious to those who are downstream. In other words, if your project, your work, your office is very, very clean, spick and span, means likely somebody downstream is eating the shit. Okay? If everything is so good, sui one, everything sui one, means somebody else is handling the dirt.
David.
David,
so, just two questions. First, how did you overcome? What were the maybe two biggest challenges that you faced or didn't expect, and how did you get over it? Second question would be, I guess social empathy maybe is not the strongest suit of Singaporeans. Sometimes we are, everybody walking on the streets, everybody looks very angry and fierce. So, yeah. Do you think this is a problem in Singapore, and how, maybe all of us can be inspired to basically maybe try to be less, always worried about, the latest batch of the BTO or whatever it is, and to do kind of more of what you do, but not having to move to Yunnan, but just do it locally even. Thanks.
The government official, they used to say that, we know you're from Singapore. I say, how you know? Say, you smile. If you think here is bad, oh, there is tougher. The underlying emotion in the city in China is anger. You bang somebody, wow, sure quarrel and fight one. It's just a tougher world. I would say at some point we have to draw a bottom line. Okay, we have to write down somewhere that what is enough. I'm convinced godliness with contentment is great gain. Contentment is great gain. So I have to write down what is enough. My father, my brother is here. My father used to work around here. At Finger Pier. He used to drive a car, a station wagon, and that time got no Uber, no Grab taxi. He will go up to the Indonesian man and say, don't take taxi, I drive you around, the pirated taxi. Sometimes get arrested. That's how he made a living and brought us up. And he has one very long time boss, client. And I didn't know how rich this guy was until I visited him in Indonesia. My father said, come go and visit him. Of course, every year, Chinese New Year, we visit him. And he'll give us a nice ang pao. And as they both aged together, the monetary status seems to, the divide of the income seems to disappear. In fact, I've heard him often saying to my father, I think your family better. Because Chinese New Year, we were always around as a family, and for him, his kids were not there. I remember at 18 years old, his son had a Honda Prelude, and I was struggling to buy bus fare. It's just the gaps, but as they aged, they became friends. Somehow, the money divide was lost because those didn't become that important. So I watched them, and one of the lessons I want to learn is that at the end of my life, which do I want to be? There's no fun in being poor. Okay, I work with the poor. It's horrible to be poor. It's horrible to be hungry. I asked a farmer, what is the worst thing that you have been through? He says, the worst thing I've been through is I'm hungry. I planted rice. I need to wait for the rice to ripen. I cannot eat it now, But my children are crying. Okay, a French poet wrote that the countryside is only romantic for those who are not obliged to stay in it. You don't go there, wow, very nice, no. Wow, Scottish countryside, very nice. Scottish people in the countryside still use outhouse, In the cold winter, it's not nice. So people who tell me that Singapore should go for a lower GDP, I say, don't. Because it's no fun to be poor. Okay. But the burden is, what do you do when you become rich? So I think at some point, each one of us, there's no hard and fast rule. We have to write down. I now live in a hostel. I have 600 undergrads with me. And I say sometimes it's dangerous to talk to me. Yesterday or the day before, I sat down with two very smart students. And like every other smart student, they think after graduation, because they're first-class honors, they could get a job with Goldman Sachs. pay $8,000 to $10,000 a month. I think it's crazy to pay it, and they are getting it. So everybody is celebrating it. I say, well, that's one way. It's good for you. But let me tell you, you do not really need a high-paying job when you're 21, 22, 23, unless you got parents who are in dire need. If I were you, I will go and work in a small and medium enterprise. Address Hougang type or Kallang Airport. You will do everything. You will do everything. You want to go and wear a tie and sit in an investment bank, that's fine. But you realize that you're going to last 3 to 5 years. 8, how long? I'm not in the financial world, so I know. I say, so you got to, what is enough? And then when you are 35, we go back to the PMET problem again, right? Other people are cheaper, they will employ you. Then you're going to think, wow, I have hit a glass ceiling. I'm not going to be a real director or senior partner in this firm. I better go out and start my own business. At 35 years old, when you got kids, you got family, you got house, you want to go out and start your own business, wow, your blood pressure should go up or no? I say, why do you do it? Go and learn from the SME. That's an alternative, just an alternative. There's no right and wrong. You just suit your character. And work. 5 years, then go and do an MBA. You'll be so different. And after you come an MBA, you begin to think differently. What I'm trying to say that we need to write down baseline. What am I contented with? And I always tell my friends, if you drive a Porsche and someone admires you because you drive a Porsche, do you want that someone to be a good friend? I don't know, you know. I really admire you, because your car very nice. It's quite scary, right? Okay. So these are issues that I struggle with. My wife and I didn't sell everything. We worked for 10 years in Singapore. We need a house. The way we did it was, because she's an accountant, I'm a doctor, we never qualified for HDB house. So we waited. At the end of, then we became full-time students. We love education very much. Every 10 years, my wife and I will quit work and go and do a master's degree. This is a luxury. We don't buy car, we don't buy jewelry, we save our money for tuition fees. So every 10 years, just quit and then go and sit down and do a master's degree. When we quit and as students, guess what? We can buy HDB, what? Right? It's the best thing in the world. So you calculate, you chong, you try and earn the money, you buy a nice condo. It's a nice condo, but that capital cannot earn back. I rather not have the condo, I do my sums. I rather spend a year in school, forego my salary, buy the HDB, and in terms of amount, it's actually worth it. So I think we write down what we need, and then we ask ourselves deep in our heart, what are our values, what do we really want to do? I think we should. The really one thing that we want to do, my wife and I, we are 55, is to plan for the next generation. I sat my daughter down before the elections, anyway, she was too young to vote. I said, if you were voting for Singapore, I advise you, we talk about this. What is the one issue that you will hold the government accountable to? I say it's not MRT, it's not HDB, it's not foreign talent, it's not white paper. It is climate change. You will want to vote for the government that can handle a seawater rise of 2 to 3 meters in the next 50 years. This is the one thing that we need a strong government for. And in the Chinese word, danger is also opportunity. If we manage to protect ourselves against a seawater rise of 2 or 3 meters, then we have the technology. It is the new high flux that we can sell to the rest of the world. It's a cruel way of thinking it, but it is so. By that time, okay, the other nations of the world will say, we need that, and we will pay a high price for your technology. I visited Marina Barrage many times. I'm a doctor. I know nothing about technology and engineering. But I went to Marina Barrage just to satisfy my curiosity about the books I was reading about climate change. Can this do it? The screws can just swing there. It's amazing, amazing. What we really fear is drought and surge. S-U-R-G-E. Ponding, live with it. I've lived through a year of drought. And then I asked, then next year there was flood. Then drought again. Then I asked the official, which one harder to handle, flood or drought? He says, in a flood, I'm a hero, man. I come and rescue people. In the drought, 1 year no rain. Mayor of the township brought a pail of water to the villager, and the villager's reply was, you just postpone my death by 1 day. You just postpone my death by 1 day. Today you give me water, tomorrow you give me water, and when the rains come, yours stop coming, but I have not planted anything for 1 year. I will die. Okay, so climate change is one big issue that we are not thinking enough about. We need to be more global than that. Next one is convictions. Our young people, we need to grow their convictions. We need to grow their values and their convictions. And we cannot be the skeptical adults. Or at least know why you are skeptical about. Thirdly, we need to celebrate a bit more now. If you don't celebrate, you'll complain now. Right? You celebrate a bit more. We learn to celebrate a lot more. And then we must build community. I live in the College of Alice and Peter Tan now. Why is it so popular? Because it's a very affirming community. They are just accepted for who they are. Our annual award, our top award is the good neighbor. Just a good neighbor. So I wish this will happen. I think going ahead, we must plan for the next generation. We must think about climate change, conviction, celebration. One day I was up in the mountain. This woman was digging in the stone and planting corn. It's shale granite, S-H-A-L-E. Granite, no, nothing. So I said, 种得出来啊? Can you plant anything? Then she looked at me, 种不出来，哪里会挖? It means if it's not going to grow, you think I will dig? Okay, sorry. So she planted. So being Singaporean, the next question is, what is the harvest like? How much? Enough to eat or not? Then she told me, if I plant just enough to eat, we will die. I must plant enough to eat with seed for the next generation, for the next cycle. Then we will live. And that is really what we are about. We plant enough such that the next generation is able to thrive. That's what I'm dreaming of. Let's read this together. 1, 2, 3. This is broad. He just writes a block and nothing more than 20 words. Amazing guy. So I think we need to affirm. We need to affirm the differences. Whatever is noble, whatever is right, whatever is true, you affirm this. So thank you for your time.